Welcome to the weekly Rebound podcast. I'm your host, Connor Sauer, alongside my co-host, Greg Horn, as always. Greg, we're back for another week, another recap, rounding out the regular season of the Winter 19 CT, baby. How you feeling? You ready for the pod?
I mean, I can't wait. It's been a great year so far. With 1 week, I mean, there's a makeup week. I don't even know if we can call this week. There's one game with real playoff implications. But I mean, besides that, it's just, this season has been very interesting. And, I wonder how the league could have been different if a few things, if a few different moves were made by a few players, maybe a few additions. But, overall it was good. And I want to shout out Chris Rosinski. Happy birthday.
Yes.
From Shocker City. And, I can't wait for the playoffs.
What an opening by Greg Horn. If you caught on to anything from the opening scene of me to now the scene of me now, there's a slight difference. If you catch on, drop it in the comments. I don't think we ever get any comments. So you notice the difference from now to then.
We know Pooch is watching, though. Shout out Pooch.
Yeah, shout out Pooch if Pooch is watching. Happy birthday, Chris Rosinski. We know he's probably tuning in as well at some point during the week. Greg, let's jump right into it, buddy. Let's get into our surprise on the rise, but it's a little bit different than we traditionally are going to do it this week. Instead of doing a surprise on the rise, we're going to be picking a team that we think could surprise people come playoff time. So basically, Greg, what team with a losing record should teams be most worried about come playoff time? I'll let you start, and then I'll follow up.
Yeah, so, this is a very good question. Because there's a lot of teams in this league this year. There's only 4 teams with winning records. Mm-hmm. So there's 6 teams you could go. Meyer probably go to Gentleman's Club, obviously. He's still riding that bandwagon. But I got to go Rim Breakers. And the reason I'm going to go the Rim Breakers is because, to me, they have something that a lot of teams don't have. And that is, all right, Shocker City, Flint, Shocker City and Flint, Run TMC, maybe Sportslook, you can argue. I'd say Flint, Shocker City, and Run TMC are the only three other teams that have depth, experience, they're talented. And I think the Rim Breakers fill all those categories. I think they have a deep team. Gerald McLeese, Chris Lee, Pooch, Ernest Henry, you got Bronson, you got Carl Fairfax is having a career year. Mm-hmm. Zeke is balling. Darnell is fucking hitting threes at a career rate too, who we're not talking about. But I just think with the Rim Breakers, it's about chemistry for them. I think if they can just a few games, again, that's the thing about basketball. It's just one game. And if for a few games you can put it all together and just really – they have the talent. They are not lacking the talent. But with them, it's the chemistry. It's reading where they're going to go. They lead the league in turnovers by so wide of a margin. It can't happen. They have to fix that because they have the talent to be a top 3, top 4 team, a championship contender in this league, without a doubt. And that 4-5 record doesn't indicate this team. It doesn't indicate the roster they have. I know they didn't bring Kayvon back. Excuse me, Jesus Christ. KT. They didn't bring KT back.
There you go.
But, this team has so much from Pooch to Bronson. If McLeese shows up, Chris Leak is so underrated in this league, and he's so good of a player. So I think the Rim Breakers could absolutely cause some havoc depending on what seed they get and what matchup they get, because we saw them play with Shocker City so close last week, and we've seen them play with the best close when they're playing their best basketball. And I think they're starting to hit a stride going into the playoffs. I think playing their last game, playing a Shocker City team really well is a great step in the right direction for the Rim Breakers.
So great analysis, Greg. I love it. And true story, me and Greg discussed doing this segment, but we didn't actually share our picks for this segment. So right when I tossed it over to Greg, I kind of got the oh crap feeling like he might pick the Rim Breakers and I picked the Rim Breakers. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So I'm not going to be redundant. While you were going, I was trying to think off the top of my head, who's another really good team to pick for this question, since I'm going to be left with the scraps here. I can't pick my boys, even though I want to. I'm going to go with the Chasers. I think that's the next obvious pick. I think they're a very similar team to the Rim Breakers in the sense that they're playing below their record standard. You know what I'm saying? Like, their record really doesn't, iterate how their team has been performing this season. I think that they have a really good team and pieces that could be difference makers if they show up. So it's like, guys like Jalen Graham and Dominique Langston, these guys show up alongside a guy like Brandon Seabrook and David Armstrong, who are balling out right now. Get some help for these dudes scoring the ball and facilitating. And I think that these guys will be a different team and different dynamic. So another team to look out for is the Chasers. I think that, like I said, if they get all their pieces on the court at the same time, I think that they're a team that, maybe a lot of teams would be underestimating. They can really storm through the gates and steal some wins. So definitely two good teams, Greg. Keep your eyes on. That's our surprise on the Rise 7 for this week. A little bit of a moderation to it, but I think we got the job done. Let's jump right into the recap, Greg. We had a really good game right off the rip. It was Run TMC and the Flint Tropics over on Court 1, and this was a really friggin' entertaining matchup, man. There was a lot of jawing back and forth between these two teams. But at the end of the day, the Flint Tropics, your boys, get drinking. 74-67, a 7-point win over TMC. It's pretty damn close to that spread that we picked for it, Greg. So I think we should be hired by Vegas or something. So, but Bazzuto with 21, Nick Jaff with 19, Eric Langston and Reggie had 21 apiece for TMC, but just not enough. And I want to say something real quick before you let you go on this one, Greg. Is Eric Singleton had a block in this game, and this was like a momentum play. This block was one of the nastiest blocks. It was, I think, Mike Druin, if I'm not mistaken, who's an unbelievable dunker.
My boy Mike,
unbelievable dunker, Mike Druin is, and he went up for that one-handed windmill, and Eric Singleton from behind was having absolutely none of it and swatted that shit into the next century. I don't know if that ball has landed yet. It was swatted so friggin' hard. And then Eric looked at him like he should after a play like that and gave him a little flex and a little bit of a jaw. And I just heard the Flint Tropics from their bench immediately didn't take too kindly to that, and they started chirping at Eric, telling him like along the lines of, "Hey, it's too early to start that. A lot of ball game left." And they, sure enough, when they came back and they stormed back, they were going right back at Eric. And I think there's a rivalry there that's starting to brew between these two teams. And I love to see that when elite talents on two teams going at it and just having a little bit of a rivalry formation and just seeing that's what makes this league fun. You don't want to see blowouts. You don't want to see two teams, laissez-faire out there slacking around. You want to see guys going at it head to head at each other's throats. And that's what we saw in this game.
No, yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. That block was phenomenal. The atmosphere was phenomenal. And those two teams, that's what happens when good teams play. It gets competitive, and you see a spirit come out of people, that competitive spirit that, you could be having the worst game of your life. You could be having the best game of your life. And that's what kind of separates the best players. Maybe Eric wasn't having the best game, shooting wise. He was killing it driving. And he just said, you know what, maybe I'm not hitting from deep, but I can impact the game in another way. And that's exactly what Eric Singleton does and continues to do in this league. I mean, Run TMC has two players in this league that's top in assists with 30 and 29, and Reggie and Eric. They're passing the ball well. I really think they're starting to come together better. But Flint is just – I mean, TJ Gianni is killing it from TJ Gianni is so –
valuable.
He's Klay Thompson. He is like Klay Thompson. That man doesn't – he just shoots, and he doesn't miss. He is such a threat from outside. And this Flint team is just playing at a level right now where it's going to take a hell of an effort to stop them. There's definitely a few teams that can, but I mean, my boys Flint, man, they're cooking right now. They're in a groove that they haven't been, that we've never seen them really ever be in this league.
I think we're dealing with some internet jumping around. Greg, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I am there.
Do you know what just happened?
No, I don't, but go Flint, baby.
Go Flint. I think the last thing I heard Greg say was that TJ Gianni is like Klay Thompson. And then there was an internet cutout. Something happened. We'll figure it out when the playback. But that was some spot on analysis. I hope that everybody heard that and that the connection wasn't too interrupted. But it's definitely some good takes, Greg. Let's keep it moving to the next game. It was another pretty solid game, at least on the scorecard. It looked like it was going to be a good one between Team Moose and Sportslook, but Sportslook ends up just bodying Team Moose. And I thought Moose was going to have their identity back with Kevin Blake returning, but at the end of the day, Kevin Blake looks hampered by an ankle injury. He was just trying to help out and provide some minutes for his guys because he knows that it's brutally tough going with only 4 deep in legacy leagues. It's basically impossible to win games that way. So I think he just showed up to just try to eat some minutes. He knew he wasn't going to be that productive. It just wasn't enough. Sportsbook had, their full roster assembled for I think the first time all season, Greg. Literally all their guys, Terrell, Dan Kokoros, Acevedo, Norco. Man, dude, these guys were on fire. Their team combined for 14 steals. Kokoros had 24 and 8. Acevedo and Norco both scored over 16 points. Just an all-around team performance from these guys.
Yeah, I mean, there was a funny moment when Acevedo did like 3 straight layups. Norco's open. Norco looked at him and not even mad or angry or just completely calm. Just looks at Acevedo and goes, "Dude, pass the ball." Just the calmest thing I've ever seen. And it was just Acevedo was like, "What, man? I'm just trying to score." It was just, oh my god. I think this sportsbook team, just like Flint's, playing at the highest level we've ever seen. They're doing their absolute thing. They have the best team they've put together. Dan Kokoros is balling. He looks like Anthony Davis out there. I know that's high praise and blasphemy, but come for me. The man is doing his thing. Give him his credit. Also.
Oh, wait, he's not done.
Also. Sportsbook is just one of those teams where we need to watch out. Redemption, they remind me of the Redemption team with Jalen Graham. And they absolutely could make a run. Just watch out. Also, shout out Will Ingersoll, number 69. First of all, love the number. Not many people are brave enough to wear it. And second of all, what a game for him. I mean, I'll let you take it away. He balled.
Dude, I was about to say, give me his stat line because it was unbelievable. But if you gave me the honors, this dude went off, dude. A low-key game. He didn't shoot the ball all that well from 3-point range, which could have made his numbers even balloon up even more. But he had 13 points, 16 rebounds, 5 steals, 2 blocks, which I think is like the underlying like shining stars of his stat line. And then 2 assists too. So he was dishing the ball a little bit. But 5 steals, 2 blocks. Like in a game against Sportsbook, where you're probably down and out, all you're trying to do is just get turnovers and threes. And he was doing a lot on the defensive end to at least give his team a chance. Limit the damage in a lot of ways, but not enough guys there for Team Moose to make a true impact against a team like Sportsbook, who's just truly dynamic and on a different level this season. So we'll see what they can do, what kind of noise they can make come playoff time. Definitely a team to keep your eye on, like you mentioned, Greg. So let's get into the next one, Greg. This was an unbelievable game. The final stats might not indicate so. It was an 11-point victory for Shocker City over the Rim Breakers. But, Greg, this was a very, very entertaining game all the way up to the final couple minutes when Shocker City, of course, opened it up a little bit. But nonetheless, dude, with a couple minutes left in the fourth quarter, this was really anyone's game. It was up for grabs. And I really want to show a lot of praise to this Rim Breakers team. They didn't come out on top. So, this is typically when we just talk about Shocker City. But, man, dude, they got some performances from Chris Leak, who you already said earlier in this pod, Greg, one of the most underrated players in this league, I think. 26 points on 11 of 16 shooting and 4 rebounds. Pooch chipped in 23 of his own. He was also very efficient. And Rich Bronson, 14 and 11 assists, I have you. And he did that on 50% shooting, Greg, and only 2 turnovers. So an 11-2 assist-to-turnover ratio for Bronson on a double-double where he shot 50% from the field. Dude, all 3 of those guys I just mentioned for the Rim Breakers, you would think with those performances that they had would be enough. But that just goes to show you how deep Shocker is and that they were able to get 25 points from Danny Lopez and 23 from Hernandez. Mike Davis, the best player in the league, arguably. I think he is maybe.
Him and Reggie.
Yeah, they're right up there. We'll get into that another time. But without a doubt, a top-notch player in this league, Mike Davis, was the 3rd highest scorer on this team. So once you hear that starts to make sense. The storyline starts to play out. Shocker City takes that game.
No, yeah. I mean, I literally have written down in my notes right here, Richard Bronson playing great point guard. Guard. I think we can agree. We have a famous history of debating point guards. Richard Bronson's their point. He's their point guard.
He is. He's like the coach. He's
2nd in the league in assists.
He's
34.
He's the one who gets on his guys when they're screwing up too. He's the one who yells at them.
He wants it. I can
tell he does.
He wants it. 16 points per game, 51% from the field. He's doing it. And like you said, the 3-headed monster, they need those 3 players playing well when Gerald McLeese isn't there.
That's right.
And even when Gerald McLeese is there, they need to find a way for those 3 players to be just as good as they were against Shocker with McLeese. Because if McLeese is at that game and you get the same performances or somewhat as efficient with McLeese's efforts, that they could beat Shocker. They could beat Flint. They could do it. The Rim Breakers have the talent to do it. And it was awesome to see them do it. Shout out Rich Bronson. Shout out the Rim Breakers. Shout out Pooch and them. They absolutely fucking balled and did their thing. And that's what we want to see from the Rim Breakers. This podcast loves the Rim Breakers. We pick them as the team that we know can do it. And it's awesome to see. I just want to break news here.
Breaking news.
Break a little Legacy League news. The next game is the Chasers, I believe.
Oh, God. Greg's flipping the screen.
Jalen Graham, not eligible for the playoffs, if you can see.
Oh, my God. Breaking news. Greg Horn with the commissioner's exempt list pulls it out and says, look whose name is on it. So there you go. Some good stuff there from Greg, breaking it in there with the news, had the whole stat sheet ready to go to show the games played. What a guy, Greg Horn. Jalen Graham is not going to be a fan of you. So speaking of that team, let's get right into it. The Chasers, man, 107-97 over Young Kings. They were missing a little bit of Jalen Graham, dude, because this game was close against who we have as the bottom-ranked team in the league in the Young Kings since Gentlemen's Club is no longer a part of it anymore. The Young Kings are reserving that spot, and they are basically almost upsetting every team they play, but they just can't get over the hump, dude. They're literally right there. And that's what we say earlier in the season, Greg, when you started to see how it was shaping out. There's really no bad teams at all. Like there's no team that you can really just beat up on. It just happens to be the Young Kings, but they're not a bad team. They're really a good team. That's just really been, performing at a high level, just not high enough to beat the teams on a given night. They're always right there. Like a Chasers team we already talked about. It's a really good team. They're underrated in a lot of ways with a lot of talent, and they only won by 10, and this game was within single digits a lot of the way. So Brandon Seabrook was the key factor for the Chasers with 34 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds, and David Armstrong with a mean double-double of 26 and 18. Nine of those 18 rebounds were offensive. So just providing his team with a lot of second chance points throughout that game, which was just enough to weather the storm. And that storm's name was Destin. It was a fucking hurricane because he came through and he wrecked and was on fire. He was cooking. Destin Simmons, 44 points, 13 threes. He was 3 off the record. And it's just not enough to overcome the Chasers, Greg.
No, yeah, I mean, there are no bad teams in this league, and there definitely wasn't. I'm a gentleman. I don't go to the club, but there definitely aren't any bad teams that were in this league. Maybe I'm not going to say anything. But David Armstrong is a monster. He has 84 rebounds. He leads the league. He has 24 clear of anyone. He's 16 more offensive rebounds than anyone in the league, and has more offensive rebounds almost than some teams in this league. David Armstrong is a man out there.
Man.
Get him to your team. If there's a Legacy League free agent, get him. Make a trade. Get your draft pick. Start tanking. We'll call it, trade your young assets. Get David Armstrong on a team because he is a problem out there.
Does it make sense that his last name is Armstrong? Like it's starting to make sense to me now. He's got some strong arms, huh?
It's on God. And again, the Chasers balled, Seabrook balled, Baskin balled, Larry balled, Jamal balled, Kevin Best did his thing. And that's what we want to see from this Chasers team. And the Young Kings had a great performance. I just think that with Eddie there, it would have been a nice extra body to have out there because the Chasers are big and they probably do take a lot out of you. But Miles Raymond did his thing. Destin, of course, we love him probably balling out his way to an award and/or an all legacy team. Maybe probably both because he's just doing his thing. And, this Young Kings team just got to keep grinding. They can grind a playoff win. You never know.
All right, so Greg already mentioned it, so let's get right into it. We're doing a season awards. Greg, I'm going to throw you right now. So I want you to give me your best intro for the season awards show as if you were like a host for a game show. Ready, set, and go.
Welcome to the first annual league award show. The first annual one that I'm hosting. If I'm not hosting, it don't count. And welcome. I'm going to graciously introduce the host, Greg Horn. I'm the lead expert at the Legacy Leagues. I am the all-time pick'em leader. I am the weekly rebounds analytic guy. And I am the best-looking host there is. On the other side of me, I believe Connor is to my left on the rebound.
How's it going, guys?
Connor Sauer, the bum in the pick'ems, always at 2. And well, you know what? Let's get right into it. The first category we have
The fifth, I think it's fifth man. I'll take over from here. Greg Horn, the best host of all time. Clearly not prepared. Fifth man of the year, Greg. Let's get right into it. For me, man, I'll start it off. It's going to be my guy for your team, the Flint Tropics, Nick Chaps, man. 12.5 points per game. He's one of those guys on that team that really just knows how to give them supplemental scoring. You know, they're going to get their scoring from TJ and Mike, and they're going to get their defense from Matt Sear and of course Mike Druin, and those guys off the bench are going to provide some defensive edge as well. And their ball handling and their playmaking responsibilities has lately been falling in the lap of Don Megliaro, has been doing a fantastic job. So, you know, everybody fills their roles. And for me, Nick Japs is that scorer off the bench. When Nick Japs comes in, he exploits mismatches. He can shoot. He can play the post. I saw him last week. He was guarding some of the biggest bodies on the other team down there on the low block. And that's what Nick Japs does. Is he's an athlete. That kid is built. He's very strong. He's very agile. He's very fast. He's tall. He has just a lot of assets that he brings to that team. And he's been playing at a high level for them. And I really like to see him get this award because I think he's really, truly one of the more deserving fifth man, because of its legacy. But yeah, I think he's one of those guys that really comes off the bench and plays a pivotal role for his team. He doesn't just come off the bench just to come off the bench. Like, they use him as a true bench guy and try to, you know, get him minutes to eat away at mismatches, and he's been doing a good job. So for me, Nick Japs, fifth man of the year. Greg, who's yours?
First of all, I love that pick, man. Flint Nation. They came, they saw, and they're conquering. I called it from day one. I get the slack. I get the heat. Connor never doubted. I'll give Connor the credit. Me and Connor, actually, you know what? I even should give myself a strike. We both had Shocker at one, so it wasn't just you. We fucked up there. Right. But Shocker still got a chance. They still got a chance. Mm-hmm. So we'll leave it at that, but Flint Nation, baby. My fifth man of the year, while I love the Nick Japs pick, I'm going Cody DiLeonardo from Run TMC. Love it. I'm doing it because I think me and Connor can agree. He's arguably been their second or third most valuable player this year. Right. He averages about 14 points per game on 60% shooting with 45% from three and 6 rebounds. He gets an assist and a steal a game. And just listen to his stat line. 15-7 his first game, didn't play his second. Third game, 10-8, 2-2. Fourth game, 15-4-4. Then the fifth game, he leads the team with 21-8-5. The sixth game, 13-9. Seventh game, 16-8. And then last week, he had 6-2, 2-1. Here's the biggest part. He never shot under 45%. He's efficient. He doesn't. Right. He's not bad.
Right. Listen, let me say something about Cody D real quick. Mm-hmm. He scores so many. I was watching last week. So many easy baskets, and I'm not throwing shade by saying it. Like, oh, all of his points are easy points. Do you know how hard it is to get easy baskets in the legacy leagues? Do you know how hard that is? Uh-huh. This kid always finds himself under the rim in the perfect place. He's always catching dimes from Reggie, and he just puts it up. He's so good down low with his touchdown there that if he just gets open for easy little layups or hook shots, he's literally getting so many easy baskets right around the rim. He's just so smart. He finds where to put himself on the offensive side of the court, and he's always just getting those easy lanes to the hoop because he's setting picks, he's rolling, he's posting up on smaller players. He's just always a target, and I think that's another reason why you would like Cody D as this guy, right, Greg?
No, that's literally perfect. That's 100. Like the reason, like I know, like obviously, like I say it, like I love my superheroes, but like it's the reason I compare him is not just because I love my suit. Like he's Captain America, like in that, like he just finds he hustles more than anyone, and just like you said, he finds himself every time with either he's gonna dunk or an easy layup or an open three. And it's just because he's smart, he's savvy, he hustles, he doesn't take any plays off. Right. And Joey knows the reason Joey has him on his team every single time is because Joey, and the reason Eric always said you need Cody on his team. Joey and Eric know that, and everyone who plays with him knows that no matter what, when Cody goes in the game, you're getting someone whoever's on him, he's gonna guard, and whoever he's going against can't take a second off. And I think that's why he gets so many easy buckets. Is because he doesn't take a second of the game off. They do, and that changes the entire game. And it goes to show he had an amazing year, and he is so important for Run TMC's final chances. So shout out Cody DiLeonardo and Nick Japs.
Shout out Captain America. Shout out Nick Japs. Both really deserving players of that award. We wish we can give it to both of them, Greg. We really do. We really wish we can give it to both of them. But
yeah.
Hopefully one of them, because me and Greg only have one vote apiece, and there's a bunch of guys that put their votes in. So we'll see how it goes. But those are two very deserving candidates. I hope we bring attention to the other voters. Greg, let's get into most improved, man. I want you to lead off with your most improved for this segment.
My most improved is, man, his story is interesting. Jason Hernandez has had a very interesting journey in the legacy. I mean, you think about when he first came, he was balling on the throne, like I want to say the throne with Joe Botch, and then without Joe Botch. It was like that transition. And everyone saw how good he was. But in the 3 contests, he killed it. I remember he was nasty in the 3 contests, the All-Star games he balled. He was always an All-Star. But this year on Shocker City, he found the perfect role with the perfect team, and he has thrived. Last year on the throne, he had 15 points per game, 37% from the field, 27% from 3, 143 field goals attempted, and 53 made. He has 87 field goals attempted. And if he makes his next 4 shots, he has as many field goals made as he did last year. He's shooting 56 from the field, 55, essentially 56 if you round up the 10th, 56% from 3. Jason Hernandez is a problem. He is giving Shocker City just a shooter. He is like he is so much more than a shooter, and I hate calling him that. But like his role on this team is a distributor point guard that has the green light if he wants it. And that I think on this team, he knows Mike, Pratt, all those guys, they don't care if he's going to shoot. They want him to shoot. He feels comfortable. And I think that's what he was missing on the throne. I don't think he was comfortable. I think he was kind of feeling the spotlight. And Jason Hernandez, just what a year you've had, my guy. And again, it just goes to show what the right fit will do, because Jason Hernandez is playing at an all legacy team level. He is just, what a season.
And, it reminds me of like Jason Hernandez's role this season. There's been ups and downs, there's been ups and downs. There's been shining moments where he's looked like the perfect fit for this team. Then there's been moments where they haven't been utilizing him in the right way, right? They haven't been getting him the minutes and crunch time that he deserves and stuff like that. It reminds me of like a wide receiver on the sideline is barking, at his coach or his teammate or his quarterback for not getting the ball, right? Like, feed me the rock. And I love seeing that stuff. Like,
you saw last week he did that, and then he does balls out.
Right. It's that goes back to that method. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you got to speak up. If things aren't going your way, don't put your head down and pout and say, "Oh, this team stinks," or "This isn't for me. I'm not a good fit." Say something, and that's what Jason Hernandez did. That's what Jason Hernandez does. He's not afraid to speak his mind and get himself minutes and get himself more activated in the offense. And that's what he did. And that's what really, elevated him to that breakout performance he had last week, coming off of the down performance. It wasn't even a down performance because he played well in that game. He just didn't have a lot of opportunities. So he just shows, look what happens when you give me the rock. Look what happens when you give me minutes. I'm a baller and I ball out. So I love the pick, especially coming around that last game. He really deserves something in this award show. So I like the name recognition. For me, Greg, I'm going someone on the same team, man, but a different guy. It's going to be Devon Pratt. And I don't want to talk too much about the stats. You're the big stat analytical guy, and I'm not going to blow any spoilers, but he might be featured in one of these other awards coming up by your boy Greg. But for me, man, it's the career highs in points per game and shooting percentage. He's averaging over 20 for the first time in his career in legacy leagues, and he's shooting the ball at dang near 59%. So right there along, I basically just call it 60%. Averaging over 20 on 60% shooting, and the amount of threes that he shoots, Greg. Yeah, he's having a great season.
He's a volume shooter.
Definitely one of his best years ever. And I think with it's hard to pick most improved, because normally it's like the good guys are just always good. It's tough to find someone who had a down year and then really balled out. Normally it's we had some really good ones in years past, like Eric Singleton, who blew his past season's numbers out of the water with that year he had. But like guys like that, it really stands out like a sore thumb. But it's always tough, especially a year like this. But I picked Devon Pratt. I think he's a good one for this award, Greg. Any quick thoughts on Devon Pratt as a most improved?
No, I absolutely love that pick. You look, all right. I'm gonna save stats for later.
Mm-hmm.
I want to save stats for later. I'm gonna put something on the screen. This is who Devon Pratt reminds me of in his prime this year. Carmelo
Young Melo.
Anthony. He has the Draymond Green like talking, but Melo was quieter with what he did because Pratt is louder. But the way Pratt's evolved his game, he can shoot, but Melo could also body people down low. He would get rebounds, he'd dunk on people, and he would do his damage in so many ways. And Pratt used to be a very effective scorer on a lot of shots, kind of like a Kobe Bryant. You know, he kind of reminded you more of like Kobe shot a good clip, but like, you know what I mean? He was more of a pull shot. Now he's just efficient and he gets rebounds. He's a problem down low. He's one of the better rebounders in this league. So I love that pick. I absolutely love that pick. Shout out Pratt. But with my pick.
No, you already did your pick.
Oh, yeah, I did my pick.
This is why Greg can't host.
Yeah.
Right? This is why we give him his brief moments. And then he realizes, you know what? This is for me.
Gotta get three. Gotta get three of that.
So the next award, Greg, that we were supposed to do after that one was going to be the Rookie of the Year. And for this one, it's going to be a consensus pick because we went over these before the show so that we had some, not all the same guys. But for this one, me and Greg were like, dude, it's this guy. So, Greg, I'm going to let you do the reveal. It's a guy who we're both big fans of and, a guy who's definitely very deserving.
Yeah, it's our boy Bandana, baby.
Our boy Bandana.
Norco.
I love it.
Jeff Norco came into this league and said, what the fuck is up? I play football. I'm going to wear a bandana. Y'all go think I'm trash. I'm going to drop 30 and 9 my first game and then not look back. Mm-hmm. Jeff Norco did his thing. He watched him play. What Chris Rosinski said he's nice. You know how hard it is to have Chris Rosinski say, "Oh, guy's nice." God damn. I mean, Jeff Norco is just next time you're at a Legacy Leagues game or you're not playing or you're on your game, you're on your bench, and like you watch him play for a little bit. The way he manipulates people and uses his size is so impressive because he's taken 11 threes on the year. You know what he reminds me of? The way he attacks the basket is a less athletic version of Kayvon.
Yeah.
Like Kayvon was more finesse, but more power, but both of them were so smart with their shot selections and the way that they would absorb the contact and go up. Similar. Exactly. Right. And Norco is this man is a freaking nature. You can't guard him. You can't get in front of him. You can't body him. You can't outbox him out. You can't do anything to his 21 points per game on 67% shooting, 78 from the line. Go ahead and hack him.
What are his 3-point attempts? Like, what are his numbers looking like over there?
2 of 11.
He's 2 of 11 on the season?
Yeah.
So for me, the biggest weakness of Jeff Norco is that you got to force him to shoot the ball. You got to really clog the paint and force him to shoot. But I think he might have a good mid-range. I'm not 100% sure
he does. But Eric Langston, I'm trying to think of who could actually he's just going to post most people up. There's like a few people like Ernest Henry on the rim breakers. I'm trying to think who else like is big enough that could like.
Yeah, but Ernest can't run the floor with Jeff for
exactly. You see that dunk he did?
Right. Like Ernest can if it's a half court offense and you can just put Ernest in the paint, a guy like that is great. But then like when the ball starts going crazy and the guys start flying up and down the court, that's where Jeff Norco is going to run a havoc on a guy like Ernest Henry. A traditional big man is going to have an issue with guarding Jeff Norco in the half court or in the full court. So that's definitely a guy. Yeah, like Jeff Norco, you already highlighted all of his numbers, Greg. I was right on board with it, and for a lot of reasons that you already mentioned. The guy's just a stud, dude. We never had a guy this much of a physical force, I feel like, in the league in a long, long time. We have a bunch of great athletes, but we don't have guys that are
Charles Barkley. He's like Charles Barkley.
Yeah, dude. He's just he just knows how to get those rebounds and fly up the friggin' court like a guard, but he's got the body of a big. So with a skill set like that, you're gonna be tough to defend in the Legacy Leagues when he can slam on basically anybody now. So definitely a guy that is a fearsome threat in this league. and heading that sports league team that's ready to make some noise, Greg. So let's get into our next award, man, the Defensive Player of the Year. Another one where we're on the same page, Greg. I'll give you a review for this one.
Snubbed.
Dude, I've been riding this guy.
Yes, Connor has.
While,
Connor
man.
said it first day. Snubbed
since his first season when he wasn't put on the all-defense team because some people just didn't really value his blocks per game number. But, dude, this guy's an all-around defender. It's Matt Sear from the Flint Tropics. We're not hiding it any longer. This guy's an absolute animal, and he doesn't even look like one. He is a sleeper. You show up, you're looking at this guy. He looks like he's long, he's lanky, he doesn't have a lot of body weight. You're thinking you're ready to box this kid out of every rebound. He weighs the Dikembe finger as he's just swatting all your shots away. He's friggin' unbelievable down there. I don't know how he does it because he does, like I said, he doesn't look like an elite defender. He looks very athletic, but he looks like just normal, like a normal basketball player. He doesn't look like an elite defender. But then the way he starts playing the game, dude, oof. This guy literally has a vertical. I'd love to measure his vertical. I'd love to know if he can dunk on 10 because it looks like he definitely can. Yeah, he gets so many steals. He's so fast. He's like one of those guys. I think he'd be a good guard for Jeff Norco, actually. He might not be like as brawny as Jeff.
Ooh, that's a good point. He can run it with him. He can run the court with him, dude, and he's not going to back down from the body contact, and he's going to be able to jump up and contest shots. So I think that'd be a guy that's the biggest thing, not being afraid to get postered.
Right. He's not afraid to get postered at all. So I love Matt Sear. Greg, why don't you go into the numbers in the analytical part of his game?
Yeah, I mean, he has 26 defensive rebounds on the year. He leads the league in blocks by 8. He has 17. He's shooting over 70% from the field. And there's only 3 people in the league, actually, that are that shoot over 70% from the field that like actually played most of their games with over 7 games played. And it's David Armstrong, Matt Sear, and Jeff Norco. And that just shows what the class of Matt Sear is in. He's with David Armstrong and Jeff Norco. And he's extremely versatile. Like just like Connor said, he can guard Jeff Norco. He could guard David Armstrong.
Yeah.
He could guard. You could throw him on a guard. You could throw him on a big guy. You can throw him on anything. He was backing down Eric Langston. He is one of those players that again, just like Jeff Norco, watch his game. His game speaks for himself. He just impacts the game in every way he can out there. And it's such a pleasure to watch him do it because he's such an impact player. Again, on D, he's going to lead the league in blocks. I think it's the second time in 3 seasons he led the league. Actually, I think he's led it 3 times. Did he? I'm not. Actually, I apologize. Rashawn Hendricks was first the year, and then he didn't play the year before. Now he's back. So 2 out of 3 years he's led the league in blocks, and he was second the year before. He is just a problem in this league. He's such a great defensive player, and I'm just so glad. I hope he gets this defensive award. I really do.
He's so consistent, and his teammates take pride in his defense, too. You can tell whenever he gets a block or makes a great defensive play, dude, they're always on top of it, rewarding him, saying, great defense, man. They love his defense. They absolutely love it. And like they love themselves almost for having him on their team. They feel like, almost like the feeling like a GM gets when they're when the player that they've recruited or scouted out for a while plays well. I feel like that's the same feeling his teammates get when they see Matt balling out on defense. Like, you know what? That's why he's on our team, because that's what he does, and that's why he brings that edge, that defensive edge we've been talking about all episode. If you have it, you're a different team. If you don't, you're gonna struggle. So he brings it for the Flint Tropics. He's not the reason, but he's a big reason why they're the number 1 seeded team right now in the Legacy League. So, Greg, every top seeded team needs a dog that puts the ball in the basket, dude. Offensive Player of the Year, got some dogs out there, man. It was tough picking this one. We had different ones on this one, different guys, I'm pretty sure, but definitely two studs nonetheless. I'm gonna let you start off with this one. I'll follow up.
All right. So to start this, my computer's gonna die. So after I give my person, you won't see me for about a minute.
No.
But because I'm going to grab my charger. But Devon Pratt is my guy, and Connor already picked him, and I'm glad he got that. And look, you can go so many ways with Offensive Player of the Year. There's so many good offensive players in the Legacy Leagues. There's definitely an offensive-friendly league. I think we could agree there. But Devon Pratt is having a career year. I mean, again, like Connor said, he's averaging 21.6 points per game. He's shooting basically 60%, 44% from 3, and he shoots a lot of threes. 7.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.5 steals per game. He impacts the game in every single way. He's a spark plug. He gets everyone involved. He gets everyone, and he makes everyone entertained. And the biggest part is he makes sure everyone is having fun. He's fun to play with. When you play with him, he wants you to do good. When Danny Hernandez was going off, or Danny Lopez, excuse me, was going off. I'm thinking of Tekashi.
You combine Jason and Danny into one.
When Danny was going off, Pratt every time was going down the floor yelling, "Let's go, Danny! Let's go, Danny!" And you got Eric Lacy in the crowd yelling it, but it was Pratt, and he hypes everyone up. He wants everyone to do good. He knows how to motivate Mike Davis. Devon Pratt is such a crucial part to this team, and he's having a career year offensively. So I'm so happy for him because he's such a great guy. I'm glad Pratt can get the Offensive Player of the Year because he's a dominant force on offense, and he proved it this year with 21, 60% from the field, 44, and 7.5 rebounds.
Definitely a guy because he's been in our MVP race. Greg, go get that charger. Definitely a guy. He's been in the MVP race, Devon Pratt, and for him to get the Offensive Player of the Year would definitely give him some justice because it's tough to get that MVP. We'll get into the MVP in a second, but for me, man, it's going to be my Offensive Player of the Year is Sir Cooks a lot. That's just the name I came up with off the top of my head because he cooks everybody, and you can't get in front of him. He's unguardable. His name is Destin Simmons. This man's putting up 27 points per game. He's made 53 three-pointers on the season, and he's doing it at a 49% clip from beyond the arc, dude. This guy is literally the most deadly shooter in the league with those numbers. If you were able to shoot the ball that efficiently and make that many three-pointers, there's something about your three-point game that just teams really can't click in on because he has made threes from the volleyball line and out this season. And he's just really just so versatile on the offensive end. He's the Offensive Player of the Year for me because he literally does everything offensively for this team, the Young Kings. The record makes you think, oh, why would you ever give somebody an Offensive Player of the Year award on a team that has a record like that? And it's because they are not in any stretch a team that everybody looks as the team that they're going to bully. The Young Kings are a team that if you're going to show up and play them, you're actually going to have to perform. And the reason is because Destin Simmons is going to put up 30 a night easy, basically every single game. So for me, Destin Simmons, Offensive Player of the Year, he just has such a skill set that, he can dunk, he can shoot, he's got mid-range, he's got rebounding ability, he's got passing ability. I've seen him make disgusting passes. His ball handling is unbelievable. He's really just going to do it all for your team and provide you the offensive bulk that you need to stay competitive in this league. And that's what he does for this Young Kings team who really needed a weapon just to make themselves relevant. And Destin Simmons has done more than that. So, Greg, now that you're back, my man, what are your thoughts on my Offensive Player of the Year pick, Destin Simmons?
Love it. Destin is a problem. He is – I have a funny feeling he's going to be voted fifth man because I don't think the interns are going to go like I feel like, remember when we were interns and we didn't know the league that well?
Right.
Actually, see, the problem is it was just me, you, and Ryan really writing that.
We learned it quick.
We learned it so quick. But, I feel like they're just going to look at stats. I don't know. I just have a funny feeling. But I Destin Simmons, Offensive Player of the Year, hell fucking yeah. Destin Simmons is a fucking beast out here. And I'm using the effing word because he is a beast. Destin is a problem out here. As I flip my page, Destin Simmons, first of all, I'm trying to think of the best way to because putting in Destin's impact with stats is oh yeah, he shoots at a high percentage. He averages 27 a game, 50% from field and three. We know it, but he looks like Steph Curry shooting it. It's you used to say butter for Didi.
Butter.
His butter's it's butter. It's not even like butter with it. It's like a fireball going through. You don't even – Connor said it best. It looks like an air ball because you don't even see it go through.
It looks like an air ball.
He is such an efficient offensive player. He can drive. He can pass. He can shoot. He can shoot at an extremely high clip. He could play on any team in this league, and any team could use him. And that is why I completely agree with that Offensive Player of the Year. And I'm
Greg,
no.
I'm going to give you time. I want you to do the screen flippy thing, and if you can, go into the clips and bring up that Destin clip. Remember, I sent it to you in that chat. There, I want the viewers to see this clip that Greg is talking about. If he could find it for a second, I will buy him as much time as I possibly can. This Destin Simmons clip, I promise you guys, it's worth watching. It is a three-pointer from the volleyball line. If you know what the Legacy Leagues is, you know what the volleyball line is. It's 4 or 5 feet behind the three-point line. Destin just comes down casually and then just pulls it from the volleyball line without even looking at any of his other teammates. And
was it with me, you, and Rosinsky?
I think it was.
Well, I mean, again, but that's the thing with Destin. Destin's just he's.
Can you find it or no?
No, I'm gonna find it right now. Destin's just. I just thought. I wish I could find it. Can you pull it up?
He's struggling.
Oh, I found it. Weekly rebound. I got it. Let's go.
So, the point is, if you can find it or not.
I got it. Yep.
He's just so dynamic with his ability to score from deep that you'll see it in this clip. How unguardable he is. He just gets you a quick pass. Boom. Shots up. It's in. It looks like an air ball. It's so clean. So, Greg, you got it? Can you pull it up?
Yep.
So here he is, Greg Horn, my man, Mr. Technology, saving the day.
Let's see if it actually
this is it.
It's not laggy.
Hopefully it doesn't lag and you guys can get a high quality view of this because you deserve it.
Oh well.
It looks like it's slow motion a little bit, but there you go. And yeah, it's kind of tough to see it in that quality.
I mean, look where he's shooting from.
Yeah, just look at the distance on that shot, and he's essentially standing on the circular part of the half court mark, and that's deadly range. That's what they call deadly range. If he had the limitless range badge in 2K, he'd have it on Hall of Fame. That's all you got to say about Destin Simmons. So, Greg, let's get into these MVP picks, buddy. I'll take it from here. We got a consensus MVP pick. Once again, I'll break down the guy's name, and then you give me the analytics. That's what you do best. It's Reggie goddamn Stewart, ladies and gentlemen. This dude, former MVP, is going back at it again. He's kind of like having a James Harden rebound season off the MVP where he looks almost even better than he was last year, dude. He's having averaging 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists, and it's when you're doing that kind of stuff for your team, dude, it's kind of tough to not pick you as the most valuable player because if you take that production off his team, you know, other guys will supplement it. Eric Singleton will start playing better. Eric Langston will put up higher numbers. Howie, if he shows up, will play better, but not better, but you know, on the stat, he will produce more. But that's the thing. When you take Reggie away from this team, you know, you might get production from other guys that you just don't get that. Don't get that killer in Reggie Stewart, who has won this team multiple games with a late game shot at the end of the year, at the free throw line, buckets, the steal and ice away games. That's what Reggie Stewart is. He's the most valuable player. No,
yeah, I mean Reggie Stewart. Look, he is absolute. He is a problem. Get used to it. Get used to it when you got to play him. Teams in this league. Get used to trying to guard him because he's going to be. I mean, he's a career, and his stats are skewed because he played on the Monstars that one year. Career 22, 8, and 4 with 2 steals a game. That's what Reggie Stewart does. He's an MVP. His impact is unquestionable. He has the best handles in the league. He's the quickest player in the league. He has arguably the best mid-range game in the league. He has undoubtedly the best step back in the league. He doesn't have the best hezzy because Mike Davis, of course, has that.
Of course, Mike Davis.
But like Reggie Stewart is he is the best offensive threat in this league, and he is the best point guard in this league. I would say Mike Davis is more like a shooting guard. I mean, even though he does bring it up, but you know what I mean.
I know where you're coming from.
But Reggie Stewart is, I mean, 33 per game. Like you said, it 33 per game, 11, 6 assists, 2 steals. He does it on every end of the court. And the biggest part of it is his team, the players on his team statistically have kind of had a down year. I mean, they're amazing players. They've just, they're trying to integrate, figure things out. And Reggie's been the one consistent thing along with Cody, but Reggie has been the most valuable to his team. You got guys like Mike and Pratt and even someone like Bizzuto, but like those teams are just so complete teams, whereas Team C's trying to figure out, and there's been one thing that's been carrying them with the help. I mean, not to shade any of the players in Team C because they've done their thing. Just they haven't done which we've seen in the past, which I think they're trending in the right direction. We're not doing power rankings, but I was moving them up. But that's what Reggie does, man. He truly is this year the MVP, just based on how well he's played and how much he does with the stats. His usage rate would be crazy.
So that'll do it for the award segment of the show. Greg called it the first annual. I think we've done this multiple times, but it was the first annual one for Greg Horn hosting. I hope you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, shout out the names real quick, Greg. We had Nick Japs and Cody D for fifth man. Most improved, we had Devon Pratt and Jason Hernandez, Rookie of the Year, Jeff Norco, consensus. Defensive Player of the Year, Matt Sear, consensus. Offensive Player of the Year, Devon Pratt for Greg, Destin Simmons for myself, and of course MVP was consensus as well with Reggie Stewart. So shout out all those players deserving of their awards, at least in our opinions. We'll see how the voting goes. But Greg, let's get right into it. There was no power rankings this week because basically the same. Regular season is essentially over now. We just have some makeup games to get through, and then the playoffs are basically here. So there's going to be no more power rankings. If you want the last official power rankings, please go back to last week's episode when we did them, and that'll essentially be what me and Greg had already said. That's basically hasn't changed. So let's get right into the last and final segment, the recap. Or I'm sorry, I did this last week too. I think I called the last part of the show the recap, but it's the preview. It's the preview. We're looking into the future to talk about these games coming up. We were just talking about these games, the makeup games. So let's talk about these makeup weeks. And unfortunately, I ain't making me up crap because I lost. I'm officially out of the pick'ems. I went crazy. I went buck wild at the end there, trying to catch up to Greg. And unfortunately, I couldn't do it. Greg gave me some second chances with some spreads and stuff, but I couldn't make it happen. So now we're just picking just to pick, give our analysis. Greg, Young Kings versus Team Moose, the first one of the week. It's going to be a pretty tough game. I think this one's the only game that we gave a pick'em for. So basically, we had no spread on this one in particular. With that, I'm going Young Kings. I can't wait for these guys to finally show up and try to get this friggin' win that they need on the actual court. No forfeit crap. I want them to beat Team Moose. Team Moose has been struggling. Team Moose has been reeling. They don't got my guy Melkwan. Kevin Blake looks like he's hampered, and I haven't seen Brad Seam.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I got Young Kings. I think that Team Moose is broken, literally and figuratively. Mm-hmm. They're doing their best, and honestly, give them credit. They're fighting in every one of these games, but their best players look hurt, and I feel bad for them because they're great guys. But they'll be back. But I got the Young Kings in this one. I think the 3-point shooting will be key.
Agreed. They can stretch the floor in ways Team Moose has been struggling to in seasons now and seasons past. So that's a solid pick. Next game, Greg, Nick Strong versus Flint. Flint's going to be favored by 14.5 here. We got Flint, at least I got Flint in this one, even with the points.
Me too. I got Flint 14.5. I think they'll probably win by 20, 25. Mm-hmm. I think once they start hitting, if they're going to hit as efficiently as they have, Nick Strong has trouble shooting efficiently. Unless Nick Strong gets hot, I see Flint running away with this one.
Here's my strategy. If you're Nick Strong, don't waste too much energy in this Flint game. They have a doubleheader. They're playing Team Moose, I think, in this. I want to say it would be their second game. Or whatever game they're playing Team Moose, use all your energy on that game.
Yep.
Much better chance of winning that game. Don't try to blow your steam on Flint and get mad and that's just not worth it. I was going there with just try to win one of your two games and make that one out of your two, your Team Moose. So let's get into that game, Greg. Basically, who do you got in Nick Strong versus Team Moose?
All right, I got Moose in this one. I think that actually, no, I don't take that back, man. I'm going Nick Strong. Nick Strong is what, favored by 3.5? Yeah,
Nick Strong by 3.5.
I'll take Nick Strong and I'll take the points. Yep, I got Nick Strong favored. I think that Nick Strong is going to be, I just think they're in a better place as a team right now. They don't have any injuries. I think they're going to enjoy this as a game they can win, and I think they're going to take advantage of that. And I mean, if they have their full team there, I think Nick Strong with Ryan Florentine, the Vasicchio brothers, Taviar Pierce, the JJ Watts baby, they'll be balling.
And, I think that'll be a close one. Like you said, 3.5. I think with the points, it makes it a little bit better, but I still see Nick Strong with the amount of threes that they shoot, just being able to, win by that. So I also will pick Nick Strong with the points there. And the last but not least, Greg, we have a rematch, Sportslook versus Run TMC. Sportslook's going to be favored by 1.5, real close spread. Run TMC just looks like a different team if they get all their bodies. Can they get their bodies, and can they get this spread? I'm going Sportslook here, even with the points, Greg. What about you?
I'm going Run TMC. I think that Eric Singleton's going to bounce back, and he's been struggling lately. He's had a good season, but not what we've seen. I mean, we know how good Eric Singleton is.
Right. We have high standards.
And I think he's going to start showing out. I think he shows up in these big time games, and I think he makes an impact. And I think that Reggie Stewart's going to ball. I think Eric Langston's starting to play better. I think if Howie shows up, that gives them a huge advantage on defense. And if Howie can figure out that stroke, Tyler comes back, gives him a little depth along with Paul and Cody. I mean, I like Run TMC in this one. I think they're going to play very well. I think Run TMC is trending upwards.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up for another episode here on the Weekly Rebound. Greg, any last takes, final thoughts for the fans, the listeners, the viewers at home?
No, I can't wait to do our bracket pick'em next week and reveal our all weekly rebound
Yeah, all
team.
teams. Yep, all teams coming next week.
I mean, I'm excited. It's going to be a good week of games. It's going to be a good week, and I can't wait to see who wins the awards and for the actual league. I mean, you know our votes now, so we'll see.
Absolutely. Couldn't say it better myself. Stay tuned. Got some great content coming for you guys to end the year. So definitely got some award shows, more all-team awards coming up, and then probably some interviews from some playoff winning teams and some guys looking into what's coming on into the final week here. Got literally playoffs right around the corner. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.